Are all these cans for me?
I just grabbed a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know which one you might want.
We're partying tonight.
I mean, there's Guinness here. Who knows what's going to happen to me?
Hey, there's 8 of them. 4 for me, 4 for you.
Hey.
Well, I'm going to take a drink of this and then...
Toot that thing up, Mom. Oh, no.
Don't ask me to toot my thing. Vanderbilt, Sweet 16.
You're calling it right now?
I'm calling it right now.
That's way too good.
That is the sound of St. Patrick's Day. Welcome back. Episode 24 of the podcast is off to a rip-roaring start. So we're outside tonight. It's 60-some degrees in March, St. Patty's Day. We're drinking Guinness. Well, it was 63 today, I'll tell you that, which is beautiful.
We don't need to have the temperature to the
I don't
very
even know
last
exactly
degree, my
the
man.
degree it is right
We
now.
might.
We're going to get 10 inches of snow on Wednesday.
I saw that.
So they
So
claim.
kill me.
I saw
It's going to
that.
be too warm. It's not going to stay.
Oh my
This is why
gosh.
people tune in, is for our weather talk. So this is
Oh,
good that
probably.
we're
They're all
starting
just
this
like,
way.
have
That
they
is-
been buried yet?
I
That
was
is
going to
the
say, and then by the time this comes
only
out,
reason.
Those guys can't even leave their house. That's why they're doing podcasts nonstop.
uh-huh.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah, excited. We got a fun one for you guys today. We're going to jump right into NFL free agency, and then we're also going to preview NCAA March Madness. The tournament starts Thursday. This will be coming out a day before, so you guys can take a listen and get to know what's going on when it comes to college basketball. And that's honestly the only reason why Matt and Trevor are here, to hear about what's going on in the tournament, because they don't know what's going on in the
watch
tournament.
every game.
You are going to watch
I'm
every
going to
game.
try my best.
Did you guys ever have, growing up in school, when it was March Madness time, the teacher would roll in like the 24-inch big TV on the cart?
On the cart?
and
For
you,
NCAA?
yeah, did
Yeah.
You never had that?
Not for NCAA.
No?
Oh.
I had this for all crappy reasons.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
we had that.
I was going to say, they'd roll it in, and like the only channel we got was like ABC or CBS.
Yes.
So we
Not
got the
even fair.
CBS game that was always on.
Yeah, we got both of those, and but the cart was massive, and then they had a VHS DVD player.
Yes.
It was great.
Yes.
Shoot, they probably had a freaking cassette tape recorder too on there.
Simpler times.
It's great.
I
just
were they
dated
doing
myself.
you, H?
I just dated myself.
He is quite a bit older than us. I don't know if
He's
people
a
know
whole
this.
2 years, 2 years, yeah.
3. You're 30. You're 30.
Aren't you? Are you 33?
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you were 45.
The beard might show it right
The
now.
beard might show it. The beard might show
let-
it.
Danielle's been stressing him out, so he's turning gray.
I'm letting the beard go, and it is getting gray little freckles in there. Let's get started, fellas. For NFL free agency, what's been going on? What's happening? What's hot? What's not?
Can I just start with something fancy?
Yeah.
The Packers have done nothing.
Well, they have done one thing,
Barely.
but it was met with some derision from their ranks. It's quite the overpay.
But how fun is it that the Packers have barely done anything?
They're,
I mean, don't get me wrong. They're still a good team. They're still a fairly decent team.
yeah, they're in a peculiar situation because they're stuck on that Jair Alexander contract that they're trying to move, but they've also leaked out that they will just release him if they can't find a trade partner, so nobody's going to trade with him,
Which then means dead money, right?
which means they're going to get hit with 20+ mil
Yeah.
Against their cap this year. So
Lovely.
so really they don't have the flexibility to
Jeez.
sign anybody, and then they signed the 49ers guard Aaron Banks for 4 years, 77, which now looking at Will Fries to the Vikings, 5 years, 88, is looking like a hell of a steal. Which we'll get into some hell of a
But-
steals
yeah, we
throughout
got
this free
more.
agency period. Like, because damn, some people made some odd choices. So let's start with the hot teams. Let's start with the positive, not the Packers, of course,
Obviously.
not the Packers.
Thank God.
But there are some teams that are, let's say, going for it. They see it. They see their window. And if they don't act now,
They see the carrot at the end of the
they're
stick.
not going to go with it. And I think we should start with your Washington Commanders.
Let's do it.
Because
Because honestly, I have not been keeping up.
That's good. Number one fan here.
Fill me
Wow,
in.
what a fan.
Fill me in, guys.
They traded for Debo and they traded for
Yep.
Laramie Tunsil.
Okay, well, I
I
saw
saw
the Debo.
even Taylor knew the Debo one.
I saw the Debo thing.
Yep. So, two massive moves. Laramie Tunsil, probably top 5 left tackle in the entire NFL. And what has Washington really been hit on? Their offensive line play.
Yeah.
I mean,
Real
other than
bad.
their rush defense, but sure.
The rush defense is not happening this year.
Yeah,
This free
exactly.
agency period, folks.
We don't
I'm
need
just
it.
Maybe they'll find something else.
I'm here to tell you that.
We
but,
don't need it. We'll just
They're
keep
going to
slinging
draft
it.
the best rusher we've ever seen in our life.
but trading for Debo gives you this ultimate flexibility of efficient pass catcher, real possession guy. So he does things a little bit differently than McLaurin does.
He does need to stay healthy, though.
He does
Yeah.
cost a lot, and he's
It's-
expensive.
It's going to be.
And
how many years has he had that he's played the whole season in the last 4 years?
oh, probably one.
The whole season?
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe
probably
one.
Because he's missed a lot.
But compared to what they were trotting out there last year, which was Zacchaeus and Damani Brown and like those guys, this is a massive upgrade. Plus, once they lost out on the T. Higgins sweepstakes, we can circle back to that and the what's not really going to age the
there's
best.
ever a chance for that, but
Well, yeah,
it is
not,
what it
once the franchise tag got on him, but
even
That-
before that, I think the franchise tag was inevitable.
I mean, to hold him there so that they could actually do some deals with him.
Yep.
But I just think I like the Commanders' moves. They re-signed Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, Tressway, and Zane Gonzalez. So
Nice.
that's veteran leadership on that team. Those are guys that are important. Bobby Wagner is important for the run. He absolute liability as a linebacker covering anybody, but like those are big deals. Think back to that NFC Championship game. Who was Jaden Daniels throwing to? Zach Ertz.
Ertz, yeah.
Ertz had
He was one of his
90
favorite targets all year.
Exactly. Really solid.
Yeah.
They see the potential. They see the moves. They see that what they have to do. Them not doing much in the defensive side of things is quite concerning. They're going to
Yeah,
have to
I think
make
they need
some
one more
moves
year.
here. I think they're a year away from him being
Yep,
a year
I
away,
agree.
Yeah.
which is pretty
Well, a year
unfortunate.
away from being
A year away to be a year
I think
away.
they're a year away if they make some really impressive moves. 2 years away, like you said, if they just do it at a casual rate.
They, I mean, you got to bank on two things. One, you're in the same division as Philly, and I think we're all in agreement that there's no reason why Philly shouldn't be the favorite next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then
Hopefully not.
on top of that, since they're going to be drafting higher, or I should say lower than they have in the past, those cornerback secondary guys are all sitting at the top. So if you want a chance at those dudes, you got to be up there.
You're talking Washington's going to be
Talking
drafting lower?
Washington.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they're
yeah,
gonna be
because
in-
they've been good. Yep.
Right, they're going to be good,
Yep.
and they're going to have a really hard time
Yeah.
jumping back up into there. So honestly, what they just need to be in the business of is distressed asset. So watch for safeties, cornerbacks. I'm saying Sauce Gardner from the Jets.
Okay.
He could definitely be somebody that if they want to give up the farm for him, so let's go three first for
I'm
him.
curious if they could even get him in a trade or something.
It just
get him
depends
this
on
year.
it just depends on how bad the Jets thing is. I mean, they
Well,
signed
it-
Justin Fields.
How bad the
Look at
Jets
it.
thing
It's
is, and
bad.
also I'd be curious to see like where Washington is at midseason,
Yeah,
or
I mean,
like before the trade deadline. I mean,
right. They traded for Marshawn Lattimore last year, which he barely played.
Yeah.
But he is an extremely solid cornerback and is definitely necessary for that defense to work. But still,
I
they
mean,
really
could
didn't
make
go
some
after
big
safety
moves.
help. They've got room and
Yeah.
they have cap space and everything like that. They are quite a few years away from having to extend Jaden Daniels, and if you're keeping track, Josh Allen signed 6 years, $330 million. So just think in about 4 years what Jaden Daniels will be able to get his hands on.
Yeah.
Like that's all the context that has to be like thought about.
Yeah.
I mean, the other context you have to remember is hopefully Jaden Daniels does not have a C.J. Stroud. I'm not saying C.J. Stroud did bad. That's not what I'm saying. But you don't want it to go into a
Statistically, he did bad.
what's the term for your sophomore year?
Sophomore slump.
Sophomore
Slump. Thank you.
I think different from what Houston did. Houston decided we are going to overspend for Diggs, we're going to overspend for Joe Mixon, and we're not going to address the problem, which was offensive line.
Yep.
Last year, so they still ran into their problems.
I wasn't blaming Stroud. It was just unfortunately Houston didn't do as good as everyone was hoping.
Well, he stunk it up too.
You can usually pick up some pretty decent defenders too throughout the year, whether teams waive or drop or whatever it is. So I I think they'll pull a couple defensive guys throughout the season and maybe make some moves at the trade deadline and kind of go from there.
But I would.
But they're looking to put up points with these people.
I would put them pretty solidly in the third place in the NFC right now.
The problem is to beat anyone like Philly, they have to score literally every drive.
Yeah, and they have the potential to do that. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch them next year. Who do you got next, Matt?
I mean, we gotta highlight the Vikings because this is a free agency period that I've just never experienced.
It has been fun.
They've spent the most money so far in free agency at like
we had money to spend.
$200-something million.
And perfect timing for the cap to go up $30 million for every single team this year. Perfect. Re-signing Aaron Jones, Byron Murphy, Harrison Smith coming back for another year. We got Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen from your Commanders.
Yep, I saw that.
Terrific two solid interior linemen. Will Fries and Ryan Kelly from Indy shoring up our middle of our offense. And then we are getting rid of Garrett Bradbury, and we've already traded Ed Ingram from our team to the Texans.
So before you jump into all those players a little bit, where were you guys most needing something?
Secondary and our center guards spot for sure.
Gotcha.
The interior for sure. The defensive line, I think we've had a solid defensive line, but I think a lot was getting pushed onto Harrison Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And if he was not in there, then we would be throwing Pat Jones, who signed with Carolina. So I just think these are all the areas that we needed to hit. Aaron Jones felt like a little bit of an overpay, but who cares? Byron Murphy felt like a little bit of an overpay. But again,
these are
who cares?
overpays that we could afford.
Exactly. We lost out on DJ Reed to the Lions, which is just like infuriating. I can't believe he was number one of guys that I really, really wanted. But
where was he coming from?
The Jets.
Okay.
Best cornerback on the market for sure.
I mean, we filled it in with an all right pick there.
Yeah. We're doing just fine in those regards. But really, just can't even stress enough. Like, Will Fries is probably, and this is probably going to go over a lot of people's heads, is probably our best offensive lineman signing since Steve Hutchinson in that first Brett Favre year, where Steve Hutchinson, Hall of Famer,
that went over my head.
Incredibly great guard, like shored up our offensive line for like 4 years because of his presence. Will Fries, incredible PFF scores, one of the highest rated guards in the league. Apparently, we won the bidding war with about 6 other teams.
Oh,
so that's also
look
really,
at
really
Minnesota
positive.
Spending money because their other two teams don't.
And again,
five
5 years
here now.
5 years, $88 million for a guard would usually make me feel sick to my stomach because guards should be a little more interchangeable than that, quite honestly. But I mean, we just need it so bad.
Yes,
just look for 1 minute at that Rams game, and you'll understand where all of our problems exist.
Yeah.
We'll have Darisaw back. Cam Robinson is not going to be on our team this year. He is still a free agent. Shocker. No one signed him. and Brian O'Neill getting healthy and just getting rid of some of these guys that were taking up space. We're from old administration. Bring the new guys in. I just think this is a home run out of a home run. I will not be addressing the enigma himself, Aaron Rodgers, because if he is a Minnesota Viking, I will not be watching the season. Thank you.
That could be a whole other podcast. I got my opinions on it, but we won't touch on it today.
I have one question for you, though, that relates to this, but it's a little bit on a tangent here. Given the stuff we have done through this free agency, with our pick right now, what do you want us to do?
Stay.
What pick do you guys have?
Who do you want to pick? What position?
We need secondary help. We need young
cornerback, safety.
We need young secondary help. Safety, because Cam Bynum went to the Panthers.
Okay.
Or excuse me, he went to the Colts.
Yep.
So we lost Cam Bynum, and our safety is a black hole. I know Harrison Smith is back, but we have a serious problem back there.
Where are you guys in the draft?
Ooh,
24.
Yeah,
I believe.
Okay,
if I remember right.
Yeah, low 20s.
So right about that time where those safeties and cornerbacks are
you
kind of taking.
You could gamble on one and see what you get.
And I mean, I think just hold on to it. I see a lot of people saying that we should be looking at offensive tackles. I just don't think that they watch the Vikings play.
But do you think you trade down?
I would
give it away, get some other stuff.
Give it away now.
I mean, they went really aggressive, obviously, last year, trading up to get J.J. McCarthy, right? So they made that push. I think if your guy is close to your pick, you got to go get him. If your guy is falling and you know that XY team in front of you are not going to be going after him, slide back a couple spots.
Fair enough.
But do not
wait till later. and
do
do it
not-
last second kind of
Do
thing.
not do the Vikings thing where they trade out of the first round.
Right.
Do not trade with Detroit again and let them back into the first round to grab a Jack Campbell or any one of those guys. Like this is what savvy teams do. They get back into it. The Chiefs did it last year to the Bills, and they got Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
And Xavier Worthy was literally the best part of that
Yeah.
Chiefs offense in the Super Bowl. Don't trade out.
It does lead
Stay
me to
pat.
one more question, though. Well, this doesn't lead me to it, but there's one more question. Who do you want? I'm assuming you want JJ as the QB then, since you don't want Rodgers, right?
He would have to be the person, yes.
In that case, who do you want as the backup?
Who is your backup right now?
We have no backup.
We have
Because
no
they
backup.
traded
Darnold walked
Darnold,
to
yep,
Seattle.
and that was going to happen. You guys kind of called
Nick
that.
Mullins
I
left.
have an answer
Yep.
to this question, but I am curious to hear yours
And then
first.
Daniel Jones, he got
Daniel
signed
Jones
to
He went to
Indianapolis.
Oh yeah, that's the other one. I was trying to figure out who
Yes.
went to Indy
Indianapolis.
as well. So Indy has Daniel Jones and
Richardson.
Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
Because they want to
Okay.
create a quarterback camp.
or no, sorry, I
such
meant
as
defensively. They got our other guy,
Bynum.
Bynum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got Bynum as well. It's wild, and I don't think he would do it.
Who's
and
out there for backups?
I think
anyway?
he would drive everybody crazy if he did end up being our starter. But bring me the crab man, Jameis Winston.
No,
That would be fun.
I really.
Do you
That is
know
fun football.
No,
that
it's
is
not.
fun
he
football.
would put my grandfather into the ground.
I do.
He would
not
throw
want
50
this
touchdowns
at
and he
all.
would throw 33 interceptions.
And he would end our lives. We'd all hate
Jameis-
ourselves for being Vikings fans.
Jameis would have one game where he has 470 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 picks.
Yeah.
And we would somehow win on the last second.
And it'll be
Just
snow.
bring back Nick Mullins if you want touchdowns and picks.
But the crab man.
No,
The crab man.
You have to bring back.
I would much rather, bring
in the crab man because I want to see him during the interviews when it's fake snow. Not interviews during pregame when it's fake snow coming down. He'll be like, "Oh, we're playing in snow. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive. Let's go play some football."
I really couldn't imagine a more like opposite quarterback room to have J.J. McCarthy and Jameis Winston in. But if not, I think if Russell Wilson is ready to accept
Well,
his
okay, I'm a little more
standing-
acceptable of that than what you just threw out.
if
before.
he is willing to accept that this is not his
He's not getting
opportunity,
paid as much.
and well, I mean, he's still getting paid by Denver, so
As a backup.
Yeah, but I'm
Yes.
saying like we're not going to
Yeah.
pay him
no,
anything.
he's got to come here on that Steelers deal and be a mentor. Be
I would
part of
rather
the team.
have mentor-wise Joe Flacco. I don't mind the idea of Russell Wilson. I want Flacco as a backup, and I don't necessarily want him to play.
college football guy. There's got to be somebody that we can nab in the 4th, 5th round.
But you don't even get any learning
I'm not
experience.
that.
from
I'm not that
All
deep
right.
in the pocket of college football. But
Okay. No,
yeah, probably someone from like Duke or North Carolina or Baylor or someone just out there just slanging it.
I mean, it's not good practice to have a guy that is like clearly going to go into like this is his rookie season and then have a rookie as his backup. It's pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Pretty
not
bad
going to work
manage-
very well.
pretty
Well,
bad management,
You would have to
but-
then have you'd have to get someone a little bit older and him.
Yeah, that's why I was a little disappointed. Like Andy Dalton stuck with the Panthers. Like, baby,
Yeah.
come on over. I'll take care of
There's
you.
going to be
Where's
a
your
vet.
Where's your gunslinger Howell now?
Sam Howell, my
Yeah.
boy, he's going to take that job from Sam Darnold.
Ooh.
Oh,
If we trade for Sam Howell, I'm
Is
getting his
he's
jersey.
there
man.
still?
He's still
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
There's going to be a vet that wants to come into that program, though.
Oh, no doubt about it.
I think the Vikings are going to get a really good, solid
Seattle or
vet.
Vikings?
No, Vikings.
Okay.
The Vikings are going to get a really good, solid vet to come in. At this point,
Well-
I wouldn't be against seeing Aaron Rodgers. We don't need to get into it,
It's
but
up to
JJ,
our
I think, is the guy.
organization, though. I think a lot of
JJ's the
veterans
guy.
will want to be there because they should want to.
Yeah.
It's a really good team for if you need a bounce back here.
Yeah.
But how are we going to gamble as an organization? Are we going to let the young guy do his thing, or are we going to screw around for a year?
You
here?
have to. If he can stay protected and if he can stay healthy, he's got so many weapons,
Yeah,
and
but
he's a good,
You can make
knowledgeable
the
quarterback.
counter
He
argument
can-
that
he can
like
find 'em.
we have so many weapons that if you bring in a veteran experienced player,
Aaron Rodgers.
I really don't want him. But like, you know what? If he
That's
wins
what-
a Super Bowl,
That
I will accept him. But if he goes to the Super Bowl and loses it, I will not.
that's the only reason it's probably appealing for Aaron Rodgers, but Vikings fans hate it because he can literally come in, lazy as hell and find so many weapons out there and just slang. Dude still got an arm,
bags
but
and bags and bags for all of his receivers. To
he's
come back to our
kooky. And
team
do you want to
ruin
deal with
everything.
it? I probably wouldn't. Matt, let's move on to Denver. It's next.
Yeah.
What do we
Yeah.
got?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The other two teams that I thought did really, really well, Denver got Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw from San Francisco and picked up Evan Ingram from the scraps. I mean, just really, really solid defenders. And Ingram last year dealt with a lot of injuries, but the year before that had over 100 catches for a tight end. That's something that like Travis Kelce does.
That's a lot.
That's not a very common thing.
No.
So glad to see him out of that terrible Jacksonville Jaguar situation. But again, Denver following that similar trajectory as Washington, where they're like, this is our time. Our
Yeah.
guy is young. We can pay all these other people.
Bo Nix,
They
right?
even
Let's go
looked
for
way
Bo
better
Nix,
at
yeah.
the end of the season too. Like,
And they looked
they're looking really
frisky.
solid.
They looked solid. Let's go for it. And then you got to give it up for the Bears, man. They said, what was the worst thing about us? Our offensive line. We got to go for it. Traded for Joe Thuney, which again, if he was available, I don't know why the Vikings didn't get a phone call. That guy's an All-Pro. Was literally an All-Pro last year, but he's older. Jonah Jackson, and they re-signed Drew Dahlman. They got Grady Jarrett from the Falcons, who was cut like it would in what seems like a very like malicious thing. That guy missed like 9 games in his career. And he's
Say that one more
Grady
time?
Jarrett.
Okay.
He's missed like 9 games in his year
And
career,
they cut him.
and they cut him.
They didn't even try to like trade him
No.
or wow.
No.
That's pretty low.
He was a part of that Falcons Super Bowl team. Like he's been there for a really long time, and they just let him walk. And him coming to the Bears that's a serious move.
Yeah.
That's shoring up their offensive and defensive line. I still think the Bears jury's out on them. Just don't know what you're going to actually get from him. I like Ben Johnson. I'm higher on Caleb Williams than I think some people are. I do think he's not trending in the correct direction, but
I
does
think
that-
it takes till next year to actually get any idea what he can actually do.
yeah.
What does that do to their competitive level in that division then?
I mean, that's the hard part is that they're investing while everybody else is investing.
Yeah, they're in a division
Besides the
that's
Packers.
tough.
I know, that's what I
It's
mean.
a
Like,
tough
it's a
division.
solid division.
They're
Some would say almost the best division because look at the teams last year.
Until you met the playoffs.
yeah, until playoffs hit and then everybody poops. their pants.
poops their pants.
No, I think it's just building blocks.
Yeah.
You have to give this a shot. You have to bank that somebody is going to get hurt in the division.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
I
important.
mean, it's the right moves no matter what. Like,
Right.
say Caleb Williams is not your guy. You still need these guys. These are.
Don't ruin his life, man.
I'm not
Like,
trying to say anything bad against
don't ruin
Caleb
his
Williams
life.
here.
Let's say some bad
Then again,
things.
I don't care for him.
Let's say some bad things about these other teams.
Okay.
The one that I'm the most perplexed on is whatever the Cincinnati Bengals are doing.
You mean you don't want any defense?
So Trey Hendrickson probably should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year, and they're letting him walk, and they are not going to give him any money.
Yeah.
And now they are giving $161 million to Jamar Chase, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. That's 40.25,
It's a lot of money.
40.5 million a year. And then they gave Higgins 4 years, $115 million. That's almost $70 million a year for those two guys.
Well, I'll tell
Plus
you what
have
they're
Burrow's
doing.
Big.
They're trying to score 70 points a game so that they can win.
You're gonna have to.
Pretty much.
They didn't sign any defenders. They
No.
don't have any young guys on their defense.
They lost their best defender and signed nothing.
They're gonna have to overhaul their defense with a new defensive coordinator this year, because they fired Amareno, whoever, Big Lou, whatever the fuck that guy's last name is.
Amaretto.
Whatever.
Alcohol.
But just like how outside of appeasing your quarterback, which I think you should do, and I think that's a good move, but you're tying yourself to this team. And the weirdest thing is the Bengals don't spend money. Like historically, this is all what they've done. They've let Carson Palmer walk, they've let Ocho Cinco walk, they've let so many running backs walk. They let these guys just go.
Yeah.
Because they don't care.
Do you think they're building up for a trade, though?
They're going to have to trade Hendrickson. They can't afford him. Like, they're going to have to get rid of him. They can't sign him to a long-term deal, which is what he wants. And he can hold out and not play.
Hendrickson's the defensive guy, right?
Yes.
Who triple crown? What did he do last year?
He had
that
19
was
sacks.
Oh, that was Jamar. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that guy. Okay.
And, again, he probably should have won Defensive Player of the Year instead of Pat Surtain, which is still a little.
Well, I mean,
confusing.
would they trade an offensive piece for a bunch of defenders?
Who else do they have on
You
offense,
can't.
though?
Well, you can't trade it for like top tier, but can you get like? I can't imagine what they would do. I'm just that's why I'm asking you.
They
basically.
would have to bail on one of their linemen that they're paying quite a bit of money to, and
And they
try
can't protect their
and they
QB
can't do
anyways,
that.
so,
And right,
yeah.
and their offensive line is bad.
Yeah.
They have no other spots
They would,
here.
well, I mean, they could get rid of like Higgins or Chase, but
After paying him that much
That's-
money?
But it's going to make
I
it
don't know how you do it.
exponentially harder to move them. I mean, just think about this.
Well, the thing is, when you do move them, then you have to get a decent amount of people out of it because, like, you
Absolutely.
need to move the cap space around.
right. But this is the tale of doing the deal when the deal is supposed to be done. They let these things hang out. They push them off. Myles Garrett, $40 million a year. That spikes everything. Daryl Stingley today. Derek Stingley got
Doesn't even know his name.
3 years, $90 million.
Never heard of the name. Where is he at?
He's with the Texans, but
Oh,
he's a
okay.
cornerback. He's going to be paid the highest out of any cornerback in the NFL next year.
Jeepers.
Justin Jefferson's contract per year is $35 million.
Yeah.
That looks like cost savings now.
Yeah.
When you compare all of this.
Which is perfect timing.
But this is my point, is that the Bengals had literally years to get these done and to stagger them and to make them a little bit different and to spread out their cap space. And they got into a situation where now they're backed in a corner, had
Well,
to
I
make
think
a
it
move
worked
because
in
Joe Burrow-
everybody's favor that Jamar Chase got that Triple Crown. It kind of
It did.
blew them out of the water of like, we got to pay 2 receivers all of our money.
It's realistic that they are going to be like the first team ever in NFL history to give up like 30 points per game. Like
And
yeah.
score 35.
And still score, well,
it'll be
they'll
it'll
give
be
up
close.
36 and score 35.
Right.
Deal.
like it's not a playoff
Yeah.
team. Like you look at their division. Steelers,
Well, they're the
Browns,
team. They're that team that you
Ravens.
don't want to play in the playoffs,
right.
but they probably can't make it to the
If
Super Bowl
they
because
can
you'd
get
have
to
to have
the
the
playoffs.
hottest run ever.
They're still the team that loses to the Pats in week 1. That is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is
True.
no difference than what they've made, and it's just it's like it's mind numbing to understand
the
why
Chiefs
they're making that
will
decision.
want to lose their game so that.
Right.
I'm not saying this actually happened, but I know some people are saying the conspiracy theory of the Chiefs
I like it.
losing their game to
I like
get the Bengals out of there.
I like it. It's just I don't understand the logic behind it. I don't understand why they're waiting. And you can even relate this to like San Francisco. They have to pay Brock Purdy now.
Yeah, but
So what happens to all of these other people? They lose them all. They've lost pretty much their entire defense.
we got a nice pickup out of that.
We got a great
I
pickup.
like Jordan Mason.
Jordan
a lot.
Mason is a
He looked
solid backup.
awesome.
He's going to be great. And he ran for a ton of yards on us when we
Yeah.
played him this year. But Texans, Steelers, all these like panic moves. That's what they should be defined as in free agency.
Yep.
It's just absolute panic moves, and they're not. None of those teams are playoff teams. to me.
Yeah, the 49ers just moved sideways. That's all they did.
They're
They didn't move up, down. They just nothing.
I thought the Steelers picked up a quarterback.
they picked
No.
up Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Does that wiggle anything for you?
No, that doesn't get me excited.
No, they got a DK Metcalf.
Well, I knew that.
They have
but
no-
I thought
they have no
So
quarterback.
now,
And
well,
then
now their
after-
quarterback can throw to some empty space, and some guy will go get it for him.
And then after that, I thought they picked up a quarterback. Trevor's drinking Green Bay right now, guys. And yeah, I was like, yeah, try 2 drops, and it looks like a freaking mint milkshake.
Turned
Yeah.
black instead of green.
Good rundown of NFL free agency. There has been a lot of moves, a lot of people doing a lot of things. Here's a question for you guys. Is there a team out there that you can think of that hasn't been doing much or has been pretty quiet in free agency that needs to potentially make some moves or should be making moves?
I mean, to me, it screams Tampa Bay. This is
Yeah,
a team.
you haven't heard of them do
this
anything.
is a team in a terrible division with a fun team. I mean, they made the playoffs, and I really thought they were a pretty frisky team. And all they've done is re-sign Godwin.
I think that's the most perfect word for them, though.
They're
The most
frisky.
Frisky?
perfect word is frisky.
They're
because
frisky.
they're kind of that team that we can beat anybody
Right.
and we can lose every game. It doesn't like,
Like, they didn't really lose anybody, but they
that's kinda
really
like
haven't
a-
picked anybody up.
but it's kind of that situation of what do you do? What,
Do
what
they
are you
think,
looking
do
for
they,
them to
do
do?
they think they're in a comfortable position to kind of
I
do
wanna
what they
be
did last
comfortable.
year and see if they can make the same run?
Yeah, I'm sure they're in that same spot, but it's kind of a. Do you want to be in a gamble spot? You want to be in a spot where you
No.
know that you're going to do good.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what you think where they would have focused. I guess.
I think it's really not on the offensive side of things, because that is obviously the great thing for them.
Yep.
They really need pass rushers.
Sure.
So like a guy like Josh Sweat, who was on Philly last year, just signed a big deal with Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought there was going to be a lot more suitors for him. But it was pretty quick done deal that he was going to Arizona. So maybe there was a little bit of tampering happening there, whatever. I won't speculate too much. But just why they got to get aggressive with a pass rusher, because their secondary is not the best. I know Winfield was out quite a bit last year, but like
Minnesota kid.
yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
But they really got to figure out something with this pass rush. And again, it was all fun and games for Myles Garrett when he tricked us into thinking that he actually wanted to leave the Browns and he just really wanted a giant payday. But
Yeah.
they were a team on the list of like, man, if they got Myles Garrett, like that could really elevate them to another space. Now, if they want to get crazy and they want to trade up and try to grab Abdul Carter from Penn State in the draft, I love it. Let's go for it.
Where are they at? Do you know draft wise or no?
I mean, they're mid.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
they're around where we are.
They're in the
for
playoffs. So
Vikings.
like, yeah, they've
Yeah.
Oh,
lost
yeah,
same
da, da,
time
da.
frame as us.
You're
so
right. You're
But
Same
again,
record-ish.
Baker,
Well, no, not same record.
Not
Sorry.
same
Take
record.
that back. Scratch that.
just ending wise.
Ending.
But
yeah.
they were still. Were they second?
Yeah.
In there?
No, they were first. They won their
They were
division.
first.
won.
They
Yeah.
won their division.
But again, Saints are bad. Falcons are going to be in flux. Panthers are not going to make a giant bounce back, even though I do like some of their moves. I still think they're a year away from being a year away from being a year away,
Oh, 3 years.
and a quarterback away.
Okay.
That's a whole other
So
thing.
maybe 4.
But I just wish I would have seen something a little more aggressive. They are usually an aggressive team. This is the team that built that entire defense when they won the championship in 2000 through
Mhm.
free agency. This is also the team that aggressively recruited Tom Brady to come in and win a Super Bowl for him. Like same ownership group, like whatever. And they're not far removed from the Super Bowl that they won. And Baker Mayfield is on year 2 of a 3-year deal that is extremely friendly, which he will look to get an extension for in
Yeah.
the following year.
It's only
Speaking
like
of
3
those,
years,
like-
$100 million. That's extremely
The
friendly.
perfect deal, man.
Yeah.
The perfect deal.
Those kind of border teams that you're talking about, like, what did you think of Seattle?
I think it's just linear moves.
Okay.
They're in a no-win situation with Geno, so they got to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring in Darnold, which I feel for him, man. Like that's the opposite of where he needs to be.
Yeah, I
This
agree.
was my Raiders point with him as well. You have to go someplace where you have some interior protection.
Yep.
You have none in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
0. Seattle is a team that has spent the least amount on their offensive line in the entire NFL, and they will not spend it this year. And they are not in a position to grab one of the guards or one of the tackles that are near the top of the draft. And Sam Darnold is going to get murdered. And guess what? DK Metcalf is gone. The Tyler Lockett is gone.
He's going to go right back to where he was with the Jets and all his other teams, which it's unfortunate because you can see what he can do. It's unfortunate.
So Seattle, I just feel like went side to side.
I agree.
Arizona, I feel like went up. LA, I feel like they went up. Cooper Kupp going to Seattle is nothing. If you look at his PFF rating for separation against cornerbacks, it's one of the worst in the NFL. He just can't get open anymore.
Old man.
He's an old
I didn't
man.
know he was in LA for 8 years.
He was there for a long time.
Dang.
Now, the one thing you can't forget for all of our listeners is that everything we said about the NFL has just been wrong.
So I guess we'll see. Maybe it'll be
We'll
a
see what happens.
maybe it'll be a Seattle Houston Super Bowl,
Sam
and I can just eat
Darnold
a
is
giant
about
pile
to-
of shit.
We'll see
Yeah.
that with Howell throwing back there instead of Sam Darnold.
Now we're talking.
Oh, I love it. That'd be exciting. You know what else is exciting? March Madness.
Yes, it is.
And we are in the midst of it, fellas.
The
Not
ball
midst
is
of it.
Not
Sorry.
yet. We're
We're at
getting
the
there.
beginning of it.
Yep.
It starts Thursday. We're
Well,
recording this
I mean,
on
technically,
Monday.
it starts tomorrow if you count the play-ins, basically.
Do they play 2 games tomorrow?
Yeah, they play 2 tomorrow, 2 Wednesday.
I thought it
And
was.
then we start the
okay.
real dance.
I thought it was all on Wednesday, and then they get seeded
I
into.
could have sworn that's how it used to be,
I
too.
thought it was.
But I definitely just looked it up recently, and it is Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay.
So
No one really to pay attention there. Actually,
North Carolina
there's
is
one
playing.
team. Yep, there's one team I want to do pay attention to, and we'll touch back
But I
on
still
them a
don't
little bit
understand how they
later.
made it.
Is North Carolina, and we're going to get into why they possibly made it and why they probably shouldn't have made it. But before we get into that, do you guys have any teams off the top of your head that you're going to be watching?
Matt's going for St. John's.
St. John's
St.
Red Storm.
Is there a reason? Or are you just like making sound effects and you're all about Rick Pitino and all the crazy stuff he's done?
Rick Pitino got screwed by the NCAA for something that is widely accepted now.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Okay.
He was giving money to kids that,
Okay?
yes,
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
paying kids.
Okay. Great. So he got slapped on the wrist in Louisville, and then he went to whatever schools, and now he's in St. John's, and he's building. It's just nice that he's building a program back.
He is the only coach to win a conference championship at 4 Division I schools.
Yeah, he's the greatest.
Yeah, he's a good coach.
he's the
a good
greatest. And the Jameson comment, I just love it, man. Like, we're akin to each other.
Yeah.
I hate Jameson, but you know,
He
you
made
can
a
drink
comment.
that, I'll drink something else.
He made a comment, listeners, after one of his interviews. The interviewee said, hey, what are you going to do after this win? He's like, yeah, I'm probably going to go home and drink a quart of Jameson. And he was not joking. He said that, like, with seriousness. I'm like, oh, let's get
He's
after
the
it.
man.
Celebrate.
He's the
Do
man.
what you got to do.
They're
They're
love it.
fun. They seem like a deep team. I know they're in Florida's region, which is going to be pretty troublesome because that is the prohibitive favorite.
Florida
looked good.
Florida and Duke are the two
Florida,
betting
Duke.
favorites
I don't know if you
today.
watched anything this weekend, but Florida looked good.
Listeners, I
And we're going to get into that too.
listeners, I have to. My name is Matt, and I don't watch college basketball.
That's hand up accountability
Yeah.
right there.
There
I
you go.
appreciate it. My top 5 teams to watch. I got Duke. I'm a Dookie. It has to be. I am
They better get Cooper Flagg back in there.
exactly. So I think they're going to rest him for Lehigh, but
They
the
have
Lehigh,
to.
the 15 ranked Lehigh with Duke being number 2, it gives me flashbacks to like 08, I think it was, when they lost to Lehigh. They were a 15-2, so I'm kind of getting some PTSD right now. Cooper Flagg's been out with a pretty bad ankle injury. He did not play 3 of the games in the ACC tournament.
It's going to be a case of sit out the first game,
Yeah,
limited minutes second game.
you have to. Or I think he's going to be ready to go because they don't play until Friday.
Oh, he's going to be ready. It's
I
just
know,
what they
but
do with him.
Play him for 10 to 15
It's more
minutes.
of a if we're panicking because we're shit in the bed.
Yes. Play, play him for 10 to 15 minutes. I agree with you, Trevor. And then kind of go from there and let him get his groove. The East is the easiest road to the championship, and I'll get into that. And that's what Duke is in. Duke and Alabama are the only 2 teams in that region, really, with Wisconsin, and I think Michigan is in that region as well. And those are the only 2.
Really?
No, not Michigan. Sorry,
I was
Wisconsin
gonna say
is.
That would surprise me.
And we'll get into that a little bit later. Second team, Tennessee. Again, little homer there. They did not look good against Florida. What do you think? Because Trevor,
honestly,
we watched that whole
I thought
game.
they looked perfectly fine in the first half. And I think the SEC looks really strong.
They're extremely strong, and I'll get into some fun facts later, but the SEC has done some record things this year.
I don't know if it... I mean, I didn't watch the full game. I got distracted a little bit there, so you watched the whole thing.
Yes.
But from what I saw, it was more so... Florida's just strong right now. They're on a
Florida's hot.
streak.
They're on a heater.
Yeah.
They're on a heater.
We talking Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer,
We are
Yeah.
talking...
Al Horford.
We're
Billy
basically
Donovan,
saying, like,
yes.
hopefully this championship cooled them down. Like, they're
Yeah.
hopefully they're satisfied with
Okay.
just that championship.
Well, now-
Otherwise,
now
people
you- now
are in
you're-
some
now
trouble.
you're speaking my language.
Look at that
here.
next team,
Okay.
though, on my teams to watch. Florida, I really liked how they played. They got 3
They look good.
extremely good guards that can handle the ball. They can shoot, but they also
got
play.
posts,
They play in and out.
down low. Yeah, they do
A
everything.
lot of teams don't do that right now. Tennessee started that game 2 for 9, I think, from 3, and they didn't touch the
And I
inside
don't know
the
how
arc.
Florida's defense is supposed to be, but they played very solid the beginning of the second half.
Beginning
at
of
least,
the second
what I
half.
watched against Tennessee. So.
Tennessee was a number 1 defensive rated team all year, or in the top 3 all year, and they're a top 5 offensive rated team. And Florida, honestly, they handled them. It was pretty straightforward on what they were doing.
Tennessee couldn't get in the lane at all. They're jacking
No.
up threes that didn't make any sense.
There was a lot of foul trouble. The refs were definitely controlling that game.
Taylor was not happy with the game.
I was not happy. I'm not going to get into it. That could be something that. Oh, that was nice. That can be something
First
we
one
can
was
get into
better.
a little later. This one again, another SEC team. My 5th team to watch, Missouri. Watch them, boys.
Interesting one.
And here's why. That two in a row. Look at you guys.
We're in sync.
Toot that thing up, mom. Oh no.
You just say "toot that thing."
Yeah, pop, lock, and drop it.
Oh dear.
Don't ask me to toot my thing.
Oh my god. Missouri is a 6 seed. They played in the SEC this year. Very solid all-around team, shooting the ball along with good inside presence. They play extremely fast. So if they can
Tennessee get a 2? Sorry, I had a
Tennessee got a
just
2
go back
seed.
to- okay.
Tennessee got
Back
a
to
2
your
seed.
Missouri.
Yep. But Missouri is a 6 seed. They're my 5th team to watch. They've had really close games in their conference, but they have really good wins over Kansas. That was number 1 early in the year. They beat Florida.
For a
They
short
beat
period,
Ole
though,
Miss.
right?
They beat Alabama. So they have potential to actually like make some noise.
What do you think of your Clemson team who beat Duke for you?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like this whole. Do you guys know much about Quad 1, Quad 2, Quad 3, and Quad 4?
Not really, no.
My name is Matt,
My name is Matt.
and I don't watch college basketball.
So it's just the way
It's-
the NCAA evaluates teams based on home
It's
strength
weird
of
to
schedule,
me.
home, away, and neutral games. So I'll just say this because I think an SEC team's going to win the championship this year. I'm going to say it outright. They got Auburn, they got Tennessee, they got Alabama, they got Florida, they got Missouri.
Okay, better question for you. Is it going to be 2 SEC teams?
That's a good question. I wouldn't
That's
doubt it.
tougher, but
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think there's well, okay, this isn't even fair. There's 14 SEC teams in.
14 out of the 16 in the conference.
14, 3 more than the record. Did SEC have it before?
ACC did.
ACC, okay.
Yep.
3 more than
Who
the
were
ACC
the 2
record.
losers that didn't make it?
LSU and South Carolina.
Huh. Okay.
Crazy.
LSU and South Carolina, but they were all inside Quad 2 all year.
Okay.
So here's Quad 1. Home games against ranked teams 1 through 30, neutral site games inside 1 through 50, and then away games teams ranked 1 through 75. There was not an SEC game this year that was outside the top 35.
Oh boy. Holy
Just
cow.
think about that.
insane.
That's
Think about that. So
Those 2 other ones probably got screwed. They're
So
probably pretty good teams.
South Carolina started 14-2 and were ranked, I don't know, low 20s to mid-teens throughout the first half of the year.
There's a couple of teams that are from the SEC ranked up there that have their records are just
Their records are not what it shows.
Yeah,
but
you
then
wouldn't
South
really
Carolina gets in the conference play. They went 0-14. They did not win a conference game. That's how packed this SEC conference is. Quad 2 is 31 through 75 home games, 51 through 100, so on and so forth. So it kind of just drops down like that. The team, the committee's looking at Quad 1 wins, honestly. And then if you lose a Quad 2 game, it better be a good Quad 2 game, like right on that border of like, I don't know, 50, 55, 60, so on and so forth. If you lose a Quad 3 game and if you lose a Quad 4 game, you're probably not looking at the NCAA tournament. So that's kind of just how the quads go. So if I reference Quad 1, Quad 2, Quad 3 throughout the night,
unless
that
you
is
win your
what it's.
championship, I suppose.
Unless you get into your conference championship and you go that way.
Did UNC lose any Quad 3, 4?
Yes.
Why are they in the tournament?
Everyone's wondering that.
Okay, let's jump into this since we're talking about it. There are 2 reasons. Well, one reason that a lot of people are pointing fingers at. The AD, the athletic director of North Carolina, is the head chair of the selection committee at the NCAA.
Okay, so there's no other reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, you can ignore all
and
that.
then
Nope, that makes sense.
no
Stop
other
listening
reasons.
now.
Gotcha.
No, I was kidding.
In his incentive deals, in his contract, $104,000 bonus for any team who gets into an NCAA tournament.
I'm blanking though. Who was the
Okay.
team that was there are 2 teams that were pretty much competing with them. Who do you remember who they were?
Yeah, West Virginia
Yep,
and
West-
Indiana.
Indiana was the big one that
West
people
Virginia
were really
and
mad
Indiana.
about. That's what I
So
remember, yeah.
UNC, Quad 1 games, 1-12. The only team they beat was UCLA, which was a neutral site, and at the time UCLA was number 18. So that's a decent win.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't win any other games. They have 2 Quad 2 losses to teams that they have no need losing to because the ACC was extremely down this year. Like
The ACC
Duke,
only got 2 teams in?
Duke, Clemson, and Louisville.
3 teams, okay.
And Louisville.
Because, yeah, that's the least, I think it was the least they've had in, is it ever? Or
Years.
is it, okay.
Years. I can't remember the exact.
I think it might have
can't
been
remember
ever.
the exact number.
These conferences just seem like they're getting gutted. Like,
Yeah.
like they're hitting these points where with all of the conference realignment for everybody,
Conference realignment.
like
Well,
it's
this is also a weird year where SEC just. I mean, not that it's weird that the SEC's good, but like SEC just murdered it this year. Like
Alabama being good at basketball is weird. I feel like we can say that.
Best
It's not
offense in
that
the
weird.
country.
It's weird.
they've
They
been
put
good
up
defensively
points.
for a while.
Defensively, they've been really good, but now they have an offense to go
Yeah.
along with that defense.
It's just been them waiting for the offensive
I
players to
guess,
finally
I
cycle
guess.
in.
I guess.
It's the same thing with Tennessee. Tennessee was not that amazing until they finally started getting an offense.
Yeah.
And both of them end up failing in the tournament for the same reason. Their offense eventually fails.
Oh yeah, it like goes cold.
Yeah.
West Virginia quad 1 wins, 6-10, and they have quality wins against Kansas, Arizona, Gonzaga when Gonzaga was good earlier in the year, and Ohio State. That alone, right there, Ohio State has been ranked in the top 10
Yeah.
all year. That alone, right there, should literally put West Virginia in being on the bubble. A 6-10 quad 1 record. They might have looked at this. They're 4-3 in quad 2s. They've lost to Arizona State, which is not good, TCU, which is not good, and they lost to Colorado, which is a very bad quad 2 loss.
Okay, so they had
So they
some very bad losses.
They had some really bad quad 2 losses, but I think UNC had a quad 3 loss, like a bad quad 3 loss too.
Like all the experts, if you want to call them that, during the selection process were saying that Indiana was the one that they would expect to be in.
Yep. Indiana had a 4-13 quad 1 record. They beat Ohio State, Penn State, which weren't really anything special this year. They beat Michigan State away at Michigan State, and they beat Purdue at home by 30.
What were their losses that ruined it for them?
They lost to Illinois, which is one of my sleeper teams this year. They lost to Purdue. They lost to Wisconsin. They lost to Michigan.
I know
They lost to UCLA, and they lost to Oregon. They did not have any quad 3 or quad 4 losses.
So it does seem like they could
could've-
easily
they
be
could've
the
slipped in.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, to long story short, North Carolina is in because of their athletic director.
Yeah.
Great.
That is honestly, that's the only reason, in my opinion.
It pays to know people.
And I'm not a North Carolina fan. Go Duke.
That's
but
how the world works.
Of course.
when I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me? They're going to put them in there? And
Let's focus on the teams that are actually going to make some noise here.
I agree.
St. John's.
I know you hit I know
Right.
you hit your top teams, but I am curious about the sleepers, the upsets, the who's your daddies.
I already talked about Missouri.
Okay.
I think they're going to be a sleeper. They're a 6 seed. You can't take your eyes off UConn.
I
Bob
feel like you can.
Dan Hurley does weird things with his team. He's like a very in your face kind of coach. He's probably giving his guys cocaine on the sideline. Like he's
Hi, my name is
all
Matt.
fair.
I don't watch college basketball, but I do know a little bit about UConn and conversations with you and your dad, and just seeing some of the reactions to Dan Hurley calling people bald and mocking them.
yeah.
Like it seems
Did
like
you see the interview where he said I'm the best coach out here to the ref?
yes, I think there's a pretty serious drop off in their an 8 seed in a tough division or a tough region, right? So I think it's okay.
Did you see Gonzaga's in there? So Michaela's going to have to go with the Gonzaga.
They weren't even barely in. They were an 8.
8 seed. Yeah.
I told her that. I told her you're gonna have to bet all your money on that.
Yeah.
And she probably will win this tournament somehow.
Yeah, who freaking
It won't be
knows?
because Gonzaga won. It'll be because she just picked every other freaking team that's the upsets. She gets them all the time.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
I had to toss UConn in there. They're going for a 3-peat. Is it going to happen? I don't think so, but you never know. We'll see.
Speaking of legends,
Speaking of legends,
the Memphis Tigers,
Penny Hardaway.
Penny Hardaway.
Very fun to watch. Pro offense. They have 6 quad 1 wins. They have beat, listen to this, Auburn,
Auburn.
That's a
Clemson,
good win.
Ole
That's also a
Miss,
good win.
Missouri. They beat UConn early in the year when UConn was number 1 still. And they beat Michigan State.
So what, the first 2 weeks?
Yeah. Exactly. Those are
Still counts.
Those are extremely good quad 1 wins. So I like Memphis. They're a 5 seed. Can't remember what region they're in, but it's going to be they're going to be fun to watch. My last team to watch is Illinois. They are a Big Ten team. They play defense. They run a good offense. They try to slow you down a little bit. So they have 8-10 record in Quad 1 with wins against Arkansas, which is an SEC team. Again, if you're beating an SEC team, you pretty much have like, okay, that's a great win. They beat Wisconsin, they beat Missouri, they beat Oregon, Indiana, Michigan, and Purdue, which besides Indiana, all those teams are in there. So Illinois is fun to watch. They took Duke to the buzzer, and Duke won on a buzzer beater at Illinois. They lost by 2.
Was that with? That was still with Cooper Flag, right?
That was with Cooper Flag, and Duke was like 5, and Illinois was like 7. So that was a good game. And then they lost to Michigan State at Michigan State by 2.
Solid.
So it's
Also was good until the tournament.
yeah. Are there any other teams that you guys are kind of eyeing?
Just to throw it out, Memphis was in the West, so they have to get through Florida.
Yeah. So Memphis has got a tough train.
You mean they'd have to get through my Red Storm?
Well, technically, they don't have to play Florida in the first 2 games.
Is St. John in the West too?
St. John.
Are they in the bottom of the West? Because they're a 2
Yes,
seed.
they are.
Okay. Before we get into players to watch, I'm going to jump into the toughest region. Toughest regions is the South. Pull up that South bracket because Auburn's number 1, and then they
Whoever plays in.
They potentially have a second round game
I
against.
don't think you have to even mention the 2 names to say that it's tough.
Yeah, you're right.
They're going to lose.
Louisville against Auburn in Lexington, Kentucky.
Louisville against Creighton.
That's going to be a no. Sorry, the second round game if Louisville wins.
Okay. I was like,
If Louisville wins,
he's got some confidence in Louisville here.
That's what I was
That was not
thinking,
in your
too.
top 5, though.
I do have some confidence.
That's number 6.
Number 6.
Creighton. Honestly, Creighton hasn't looked good
Creighton's
all year.
always been a wild card, though. In
They
the
have been
tournaments.
with Doug McDermott. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
Yep, McDermott.
They've had some serious upsets throughout. Or maybe not upsets, but they've made some streaks. I don't really know if they were the higher seed or not.
That
but
game is in Lexington, Kentucky, though. So if Louisville can get there, that's a home game for them
That's great.
against Auburn. So
everyone loses their home games.
Louisville won 27 games. They are the best 8 seed.
UConn's an 8.
Yeah, UConn's an 8, which we already talked about. That's not a good 8
Mississippi
seed.
State is an 8. But
Okay,
then they're
that's
playing Baylor, who a lot of people are thinking could have a streak here.
yeah.
And then there's
'Cause it's
Gonzaga,
eight- it's
which we talked about
8-7,
earlier.
right?
Well, we talked about.
Is it 8 versus 6 or
Outside
8 versus
this.
7?
Sorry, what?
Is it 8 versus 6 or 8 versus 7? I can't remember in the brackets.
8 versus
9.
9.
8-9.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we'll see. Michigan State is in that South region. Michigan's in that South region, the Big Ten champs. And then Iowa State's also in that South region. And then you got a
UC San Diego. A lot of people are thinking they're going to be good too.
Really? Well,
And-
your
but they
guys
have
on
to get through
UC
Michigan
San Diego.
first.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Your guys on San Diego, which is one of my players to
I was
watch.
surprised when I was listening to some analysts. They were all hoping for some UC San Diego.
I
streak
actually
here.
have heard that in the last couple days
Yeah.
too.
I was
Kawhi is
surprised.
not walking through that door.
He could.
No,
You don't
doubt
know.
It. I doubt it. He doesn't play for his own team.
Yeah, that's why he's healthy now. He's ready to play.
But you also add in teams like Texas A&M, Ole Miss into the mix, both high quality SEC teams.
You're doubting
so
on Yale?
the South is the toughest. Yes, I am. I'm not. I love my Ivy League boys, but I'm not going Yale.
I love my Ivy League boys said no one ever in the history of the world.
What do you mean? Come on. Now.
Other than Ivy Leaguers.
Hey.
Other than Ivy Leaguers. Yeah.
Jimmer Fredette came from there.
Jimmer Fredette came from BYU.
Yeah,
You're right.
that's
Not
correct.
Yale.
Yeah. Thank you. I know my Mormons.
The other Y team.
Oh my goodness. Easiest region by far. It's the East. You have Duke and Alabama. You have Wisconsin up there, and you have Arizona there. They're definitely not contenders, so not anything really to worry about there.
Vanderbilt, Sweet 16.
You're calling it right now.
Calling it right now.
You're calling it right now.
I
Sweet
actually,
16.
Every time I've only seen a few of their games, but they've actually looked pretty good in the games. I've seen.
Vanderbilt is going to beat Alabama just like they did in football last
Okay.
past year.
So the East region also has
They
the worst
have
of
been
the.
disappointing a lot of teams lately in all sports.
There's something there.
The East region has the worst of the following seeds: the 10 seed, which is Vanderbilt; the 12 seed, which is
Hey.
Liberty; the 13 seed, which is Akron; and then the 14th seed,
Hey,
which is
Liberty
Montana.
has one of the best
Montana.
offenses. I learned that watching.
Did you?
the selection
But they're
process.
all the worst of those seeds, so literally they're way down there on the bottom of the
so
totem
they
pole.
claim.
So
but
the
when they
East-
score 108 points on somebody,
yeah, just rain it
Where they
from
play?
3.
when they score 108 points on Oregon, yeah, okay.
So with that being said, Duke and Alabama should have a pretty easy cakewalk to get into the Final Four, if not the championship.
St. John's
I don't
29
believe in
to
your
1.
Duke. I'm sorry.
29-1.
That's what they're going for championship.
That is. I did see that.
29-1.
Yeah, I
I
did
will
see that.
bet you a case of hams that Duke does not make it to the Final Four.
That does not make it to the Final
Oh.
Four.
You gotta take that bet.
I'm shaking on it, guys.
Listeners, they're shaking.
Don't make it to the Final Four. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just don't believe in them this year.
Man.
Oh man, my national championship prediction. I gotta go with the current betting favorites. That's Duke. I'm a Duke guy. It literally comes down to Cooper Flag. If he can play the way he was playing during the year, I think they're gonna be okay because they're top 3 in offense and they're top 5 in defensive rating, and they have been all year.
I'm just gonna need him to sit for a little while.
Just get
like the whole
extra.
tournament, it would be fine.
Just get extra cold. Florida's getting a lot of recognition right now currently as well, plus 350. That's according to MGM Sportbook. I have not filled out a bracket yet. I will definitely here in the next couple days, but we'll see. If Duke can get past Alabama, which has the highest rated offense in the country right now, I think we're fine.
Well, Duke is gonna have to get through Vanderbilt.
Yes,
I was
you're
gonna
right.
say,
So-
You're right.
You think Alabama's gonna make it?
so
Vanderbilt
I don't
all the way.
really understand what
So
you're
you're saying Vanderbilt and Alabama in the Elite Eight?
They can't. They would match up in the second game.
Yeah.
Oh, they would.
They-
Oh, so you're saying Vanderbilt, Duke in the Elite Eight, and Vanderbilt's going
Yep.
to the Final Four.
That's
Amen.
what he's saying.
Okay, mark it down here, folks.
That'd
Check
be perfect
that.
timing.
Check
Fan
that.
out.
Check
Hold
that
on, I
long
didn't say they
odds.
would beat Duke.
Check that long
Yeah,
odds.
she
No, I didn't. I didn't say they beat Duke.
I heard it.
heard
No.
they were going to beat Duke.
Listeners, I'm not picking Vanderbilt to beat Duke.
Oh my
No.
gosh, I love it. Top five players to watch. Cooper Flag, obviously, he's coming off an ankle injury. Player of the year candidate. Also,
Future Washington Wizard.
nope, he's staying.
Oh, he's gonna stay.
He's staying. Why would you want to go play for Washington?
Well,
Because
'cause
the
why
next
would-
year is still going to be Washington.
Why would you want to go pay for the Jazz? The only team you would want to play
No,
for
actually,
right now.
the Jazz I would not actually be totally opposed to. Right now it sucks, but the Jazz organization has actually done things before. The Wizards are just, I don't want it.
Yeah.
You
The
ever
only
been to Salt Lake City?
I don't want to be in Salt Lake City.
Exactly.
the only organization you want to go play for is the Spurs with Fox and Wemby, and they're both out for the year, so they can actually have potential at getting Flag if he decides to leave.
It's not going to happen. They're still too
It's
good. For
1000% conspiracy if the Spurs get the number 1 overall pick.
That is true.
I'm telling you that right now.
Mhm.
That AD from North Carolina is going to
hey.
be in charge of that process.
Bring glory back to San Antonio.
And somehow he has relations to the Spurs.
Somehow,
know-
he's now the AD of the San
You know who
Antonio
else is going to be
Spurs.
coming back? Pop. He's done for the year too because of his house stuff.
He
So they're
has-
all going to come back.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I'm sure that's it. Okay.
Walter Clayton Jr., he's the Florida point guard. He's
looked
tough.
fantastic.
He was pulling up, going off screens, hitting threes, getting to the rim. He was doing some wild stuff. 17.5 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, 4.3 assists, shooting 44% and 37% from three. So
Is he a little Frank Mason?
he's about
Huh?
no,
No?
I think he's like 6'3". He's
Michael
like
Carter Williams?
He's like an
maybe?
undersized
Yeah.
guard. No, he's not
No?
that tall.
Oh, okay.
He's an undersized kind of
But
guard.
he is really
Cor-
good
hey,
at shot creation.
He's like a
so like he can get
Corey
open.
Brewer.
Oh.
I would compare him to a little bit of Corey Brewer. Corey Brewer can get to
Size-wise,
the rim.
yeah.
Corey
And-
Brewer can shoot a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this guy's really he's at least in the games that I watched, he was very creative with getting open shots. So.
Yeah. Igor Milicic Jr., forward from Tennessee. If he can stay out of foul trouble,
Love this guy.
I told these guys off air that he averaged 3.8 fouls per game. If he could stay out of foul trouble,
Sound likely.
He's a
well,
maniac.
we'll
I love
see.
him.
He does stretch the floor for Tennessee, and he allows their SEC Player of the Year, the guard, to kind of do whatever he wants. And if he can
So
get
if you
free,
want to watch him in the first 10 minutes of the
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
He's gonna be
Carrying
gone.
on that Darko role.
Hayden Gray. Who's Hayden Gray, Trevor?
He is the greatest three-point shooter. He's the new Jimmer.
He's the new Jimmer, or that accountant from last year.
Oh. From Oakland.
Yes, but this guy is playing for UC San Diego. He went
Okay.
6 for 7 in the
He's
championship
gonna
game.
crush it, and they're gonna win all their games.
Gotcha.
he was pulling up from weird places, and you're just like, okay,
Yeah, he's fun.
get it, California boy.
So you think he'll open up a State Farm insurance agency?
Oh, yeah.
That's probably his first
Oh, yeah.
NIL
In the
deal.
next 12 months or
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good
And
for
And
him.
then he's gonna be playing.
Good for him.
what is it, the 3-on-3 of
I was going to say he'll be in the Olympics in a few years.
He's shooting 48% from the field and 42.3% from the three-point arc. So he's got potential. So that I just threw that one in for Trevor. Is he going to do good? He has to hang on. He's an 11 seed. They have to win to get in.
Do you think
he's
they're
got
gonna...
it? He's going for 40.
He's got it.
Oh
He's
my
got it. He's
gosh.
going for 40 apparently.
What's the most he's ever scored?
This guy you haven't heard of, Cameron Jones, University of Marquette, 24 points per game, 2
I
rebounds.
have heard of him, actually.
Have you?
Uh-huh.
7 assists. The dude.
I mean, I like Marquette because
The dude-
I mean, my obvious reasons.
Why? Why do you like him?
Good
Dwayne
old
Wade.
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade. I do have a Dwayne Wade jersey downstairs. I should have wore it.
It's the best.
He had 24 points, 2 rebounds, and 7 assists against St. John's, and they only lost by 6 in that Big East championship game.
Shaka Smart still coaching that team?
No.
Ah,
Yeah. Is he?
where's Shaka at?
I don't know where Shaka's at. He actually might be at Marquette. No, you're right.
VCU represent.
Yeah.
I don't know that much.
I think
just know
Shaka.
that- the
Honestly,
name
I
that
think
he's-
Shaka's there. But the dude's fun to watch. He's
All
a quick little. He reminds me of who do the Timberwolves have right now who doesn't play much? Dillingham.
Great. He sounds like a winner then.
He definitely reminds me of him.
Okay.
So he's a good player. We'll see what he can do. He can't shoot the 3, but he can get to the rim at will. He's shooting 48% inside the arc.
Those guys are more fun to watch, anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
that's
would agree
Dillingham.
with you. I would agree with you. So there it is, fellas. Who before we jump into some fun facts, who do you guys have? I know you have Vanderbilt and St. John's over here.
Fuck it. St. John's versus Vanderbilt, the championship.
I love it.
No, I'm pretty sure I got St. John's and Duke.
Okay. Who do you got, Trev?
I'm really going to have to fill out a bracket before I can say. Like, this year, I mean, the last few years have been pretty wild, but I think this year's one of those, like, a lot of upsets could easily happen.
Yeah, I agree. Here's a question. Are you taking the field against the SEC?
Boy, yeah, I guess I am with my championship pick.
You are, yes.
Yeah. So, yes, I am.
Trevor, just what you know about the SEC and all that stuff, are you
I
taking the
think
field?
there's a very solid chance that 3 of the 4 teams in the Final Four are SEC.
SEC, yeah, I would agree. Here's some fun facts, and it's literally it's about the SEC because I heard this today. This year, the SEC got 14 of 16 teams in the NCAA tournament. 9 of those teams are in the top 25 all year, 4 being in the top 5 the majority of the year. The SEC has a 90% non-conference winning percentage.
Wow.
They dusted
Yeah.
people.
These guys, it looks like a whole different game.
That's South Carolina and LSU. The 2 worst teams in the SEC were still dusting people at the beginning of the year.
I mean, it's like I even said when we were watching it the other day. I felt like Duke even looked slow. I get Cooper Flag is out. It's a
Yeah.
huge deal.
Oh, but it's
like,
a huge deal. Duke is Cooper.
they look
Cooper Flag is
so
Duke.
slow compared to the SEC. It's just a whole different game.
And like I said earlier, every single game was played inside of a quad 1, a top 30 quad 1 game. That's ridiculous. So whether you're losing at home or winning at home, it's pretty legit. Where are you guys watching the first 2 days? At work, on the toilet,
Unfortunately, I have
in
to
the bathroom?
work, but if I can't watch it at work, I am working from home.
Well, when is it?
So hang on, Matt. Before you answer that question, you enjoy March Madness, right?
I always watch.
You watch, but you just don't follow college basketball throughout the year.
I just don't. Yeah, I can't follow it throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
It's
The
too
way-
much. There's too many teams. There's
The way that I follow the NBA, I can't add another thing.
You
on
have
top of
mentioned
it.
that,
I
yeah.
can't do it.
well, it's also like 30 teams compared to like
100
just some
and something.
absurd amount
Yeah.
of teams.
I also
like,
think this is okay, and you guys can give me crap about this. I also think it's weird to root for a team that I didn't go to college. Like that's not where I went to college.
Oh, okay.
Well, I went to college at NDSU. Basketball is not a thing.
Right.
I mean,
Hey,
it is.
they've
it
made the
exists,
tournament a couple times.
and Lawrence Alexander is a freaking hero. Scored like 40 some points in the first round. Is amazing.
Trevor's
But
got a tattoo on his chest.
whoever the guy that was supposed to do good that year, screw you.
But I'm just saying.
I know
like,
where you're coming
I
from,
grew
though.
up in Minnesota,
Yeah.
where we have pro teams and college teams,
Yeah.
right? Okay, if I grew
College
up,
teams that don't make it to the tournament.
well, okay, yeah, we can be nice to the Gophers.
Yeah.
But like if I grew up in Iowa, I think it'd be completely different. where I would be all in on Iowa State or Iowa.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, for
right?
sure. Or even Nebraska or
Or
wherever.
NIU, like whatever, any of those teams.
Yeah, those are your two teams in Iowa.
But also, I didn't grow up in a house outside of my stepdad watching Nebraska football games.
Yeah.
Not watching anything else Nebraska related. Like, it wasn't a part of my life.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And, like, go Winona State Warriors. Like, good job in D2. I don't think they've done that well since I've graduated from college.
Couldn't tell you.
But, like, I don't know. It's just weird if I was like, I am a St. John's fan.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey.
I've been to New York City.
You might be.
Great.
If they win, that's going to be Matt's team next year. He's
You know
just going to
what?
be
If-
absolutely
You know what? If they do,
evaluated.
if they win the NCAA tournament, I will go to a St. John's game next year.
But I think
I'll
that's
go
one of
with
the
you.
best
We'll
things
go to a
about
St.
March
John's game.
Madness is you can just watch the games and immediately become fans of like all these underdogs that are going on
Yes,
streaks.
that's why
It's
I watch.
so
Yeah.
fun.
Because you find all of these players, and obviously some of them go on to the NBA, and I do use that as like a when draft time comes around, like, okay, I have some reflection on
Yeah,
some of these guys, and
exactly.
I remember how they played, whatever. But the accountant from Oakland,
Yeah.
like
He's in the G League now.
the random guys where you're like, oh my god, how did the guy from Northern Iowa University have 30 points
Yeah.
against one of these teams that was just killing everybody? Like, the greatest coaches have lost
Oh, yeah.
in
Yeah.
the first, second, third rounds of the tournament.
They're
The greatest teams.
I love college basketball. I love basketball in general, but I can't watch all year round. It's just it's too much.
I pick 2 or 3 teams to watch all year round. I watch Duke. I watch Tennessee. Obviously,
I was gonna say
and
you've got
then
me hooked
I
on
watched-
Tennessee. I will watch all.
I
the
watched a
games with
lot
you
of
if I can.
SEC games just because I had access and Tennessee was in the SEC, so I wanted to keep up to date on that. We just upgraded to YouTube TV. That 4-box is going to be absolutely fantastic.
Picking and choosing. It's
real nice.
awesome.
That is
It's
going
real
to be
nice.
fantastic. I think
Shout out to YouTube.
shout
not
out
a
to
sponsor.
YouTube. Not a
Hey, not a
sponsor, but
sponsor.
could be. You can sponsor all of us.
YouTube TV sponsor us so I don't have to pay for fucking NFL Sunday Ticket.
Yeah, I think.
Don't cut that either.
I'm not going to. I think those dogs in the backgrounds are telling us to sign off. It's been a fun one. NFL free agency. NCAA March Madness is coming up. I'm really pumped about that. And then we'll see kind of where it takes us from there. Thank you so much for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, rate the podcast. It really does help. Guinness, Hams, YouTube. You guys can reach out whenever you want. We're here. We will fetch all calls, all emails,
I'm available.
all the time. 24/7. Even with the kids.
No.
Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. We will see you guys next time.